Welcome everybody to Tarantulas in the SIP. My name is Landon and this is our very first official video. Today we're going to be doing a rehousing on a Brachypelma Emilia, or a Mexican red leg. We named her Teddy because honestly she just looks like a cute old teddy bear. We're not sure if it's a female or not, but that's what we're going with for the moment. I love every species in this genus. They all sport reds and oranges against a black background, which I find very appealing. This is considered a beginner species. Most in that genus are. They don't require a lot of humidity. Their leg span is from 5 to 6 inches, depending male or female. From that's diagonal leg span, one front leg to the opposite back leg. They also live anywhere from 20 to 30 years. That's females, and that's optimal conditions, obviously. In captivity, males usually live 6 to 8 years. Um, males just don't live longer. They get the need to mate. And that's all they're out for. And females just get the life of luxury and get the keep on trucking. But we'll cut here and get on into the rehousing video next. This is what we'll be rehousing her into. This is a very common substrate, about 40% peat moss, 40% coconut fiber, and 10% vermiculite. The vermiculite helps break up the water so it just doesn't stand in one glob, and it helps distribute it. Kind of acts like a sponge in there. You don't need a ton of humidity in here, like I said earlier, but you can see a little line of water. I'll fill in the water dish. Bottle caps work great as water dishes. Look, this tarantula won't be in here very long, so we're not going to worry too much about how it looks. Whenever they get to where they're going to be in their final habitat, I go a little more out, get a nicer habitat, put more into it, like decorations, little better irrigation system in the bottom, which I'll go over that later. But yeah, bottle caps work great, especially for juveniles and stuff that don't need a huge water dish. But yeah, whenever you go to fill up your water dish, every now and again, just let it overfill and pour some down, and that'll be a perfect amount of humidity for this species. But yeah, put a little leaf litter in there, a little cork bark hide there for it to go into. My experience with that is they'll never use it and dig their own hole, but we give them a shot anyway. I love these enclosures here. These are cheap. You can get them from any big box store, pet store. Come with a nice lid, good ventilation, so there's no mold. If you think you'll need to, you can also drill holes along the side for increased ventilation. I haven't had any problems so far. These run you anywhere from $5 to $21 for the biggest ones, so these are very affordable. Like I said, whenever they get into their final enclosure, I go a little more out. But if they're only going to be in this for a year, I just don't see the point. But if you have the money, go right ahead, spend whatever you want. This is your hobby, but this is just what I choose to do right now. But we'll go ahead and see about getting her ready. So we'll remove stuff from the enclosure first just to make it a little easier. We're going to get the water dish out. See, another bottle cap, works just fine. And if you notice right here, it might look like she's dead, but this is her molt from the last time. That's why we're rehousing her. She's put on some good size, so we're going to try to get this out of here and get her into a new home. Alrighty. This has been a pretty calm species for me. A little shy, a little skittish, but she's never kicked hairs for me. And we're going to try to get some good images of her. See those striking oranges on those legs? And if we can get her in a minute, sorry, trying to focus on the camera here a little bit, get some images of her later. She's got a black triangle on her head, which is really, really interesting. I really like that against kind of a tan background. We don't want to disturb them too much. We don't want to stress them out. If you stress them out, they could kick hairs. New World tarantulas have urticating hairs, and they can kick that off. And not only can it make you itchy, but it also takes the hair off their butt, and it kind of makes them look less aesthetic, I guess. It kind of takes away from their beauty. I'm gonna hand this back to the camera lady now, and we'll get back into it. What I'm gonna use is a plastic bottle here. It's Fiji. I like it because it's squared, matches with the square corners in here. You'll see there's holes all around. That way, when we get her in here, we can use that to kind of prod her out. You want to use something soft like a paintbrush or a little wooden dowel or something. If you use metal and they strike at it, it can hurt their fangs, so we don't want to do that. We're going to try to do this with getting as little dirt on her as possible. And of course, she sucked in to go hide. That's okay. She's just trying to protect herself. And if you can't see too good, I apologize, but this is hard to videotape this small of an enclosure. Oh, and she's kicking hairs. That's what I didn't want to happen. I'm not worried. The hairs kind of act like fiberglass. I haven't had any bad reactions to them. They're a little itchy, but I just don't want to stress them out. I find that's the most important thing. So I always feel awful when that happens. We'll see if we can kind of tilt her and get her up in here. Maybe I'll go in from the side. This is always the funnest part. Just kind of breaking up that substrate so I can tilt her in a little bit. All right, we got her coming in. I don't know if you can see her real good, but she is coming in. Just going to take it nice and easy and slow. And now look at that. We've got a tarantula in a bottle. We never had to touch her. And there's no issue. See if we can get some good footage there. She's a beautiful girl. I hate to disturb her. I really do. But we also want to give her a good habitat to live in. Don't want her too cramped. The smaller these are, I've seen that the tarantulas will burrow down and kind of get to the plastic, and it doesn't give them anywhere to go. So that's another reason I like to put them in these bigger ones. But it's important to keep them kind of size appropriate. That way when you can keep an eye on them with feedings and stuff, even though this is a well-started tarantula now and out of the danger zone of being a little tiny spider, you still want to keep an eye on them and make sure they're good. But we're going to go ahead and try to get her moved over now. Spin this around so we can get her maybe going towards the hole here. Like I said before, they never seem to want to go in there. They always make their own little home somewhere else and disrupt your plans. But you'll see, I'll take this and I'll slowly go in there. And I'm not going to harass her. I'm just going to slowly make contact on her leg and just encourage her to go the other way. And sometimes they get stubborn, but she seems to be doing pretty good. No threat posture. She just doesn't want to be touched. I wouldn't want somebody jabbing at me with a giant stick either. Oh, and she slapped at me. She said, "That's your warning. I'm out of here, brother." But she is in her hole now. And I don't know if we're going to get any more footage of her. She's right down in there. And that's actually exactly where we want her to be, because we want her to feel comfortable. That was a stressful moment for her. And like I said, I felt horrible doing it. But it's just part of the husbandry. You want to make it as easy as possible on them. That one went fairly quick. And all in all, she was very good. But we're going to go ahead and throw the lid on here and get her some water and let her calm down, and I'll see you in just a minute. Well, now she's settled into her new home, and hopefully she can relax a little bit and let that stress subside. And I was able to check her abdomen, and she didn't kick up off a lot of hair. It didn't really seem to show up. They do have some they can kick without it affecting their abdomen. And whenever I say affect their abdomen, it doesn't hurt them, but it can make it bald. I've seen tarantulas on videos that have kicked all the hair off their abdomen. It kind of looks funny. It kind of is displeasing to the eye, but they do it out of defense, or sometimes they even do it around their enclosure just to ward off predators because it doesn't affect them. But don't worry, I did give her some water like I said I was going to. She's doing well. um, I just want to give a little more information before we wrap up the video that on the substrate you want to go half to 2/3 up, especially with the terrestrial species like she is. That helps with fall, and even though it is a terrestrial species, when they're younger like that, which that's a juvenile, I'd say 2.5, 3 inches, they still have a tendency to burrow a little bit out of pure protection, just trying to make sure they stay alive out there in the wild. So it's just natural for them to do that. But the older terrestrial species get, most of the time they will be out more. You will be able to see her more. And I have been able to see her more, but when you're ripping the top of her house off and poking at her with a stick, it tends to make you a little stressed out and a little shy. And so I know I would be. But yeah, just make sure you give them enough substrate to dig into, to burrow into, in case that's what they decide to do. It's their decision. Um, some do, some don't. I've got one that stands out like a rock. I've got her that'll sometimes burrow, sometimes not. It's just whatever's fitting them for the moment. But I want to thank you all for watching the channel. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.